Championship season has been completely and utterly bonkers. We've got teams who I, and quite frankly everyone, expected to do well, doing terribly, and then we've also got teams who most expected not to do so well, doing brilliantly. At various stages the table has often felt like it's upside down, but actually it's just been a ridiculously competitive season, summed up perfectly by the fact there's only 6 points separating 3rd and 14th. But how is everything going to end? Well, today I'm going to have a stab at it. I'm Ryan Dilks from the second tier, and these are my updated league table predictions. Before we get underway, please make sure you like this video and subscribe for more content like this. Let's begin. 24th, Sheffield Wednesday. We start with one which is not a surprise because unfortunately Sheffield Wednesday will be finishing bottom this season. They've been a lot more competitive than most expected, considering they've had to use essentially the same starting 11 every week and had to draft in several academy players, but they're still bottom even if you don't count the points deduction. They've already had 12 taken away for administration. They've got another one on the horizon for missed wage payments. The best hope for Wednesday this season is they get a takeover done before January so they can assemble a squad which will be best placed to bounce back at the first time of asking next season. 23rd, Oxford United. I tipped Oxford to go down at the start of the season, and unfortunately I just haven't seen enough evidence to suggest I'm going to be wrong on that particular prediction. Yes, they've got a good manager in Gary Rowett, but for me he's working with a squad which quite simply isn't good enough. There's a handful of players who stand out, but I can't see Oxford simply winning enough games to stay up. 22nd, Blackburn Rovers. If I did my league table predictions after the transfer window closed, I probably would have had Blackburn to go down, because essentially what's happened is they've had the core of their squad ripped out from last season and replaced with a bunch of randoms. And Blackburn was seriously struggling up until very recently, where they got 3 wins on the bounce. And I don't think that form is a sign of things to come. They're solid at the back, but going forwards has been a problem, albeit it has been a bit better recently. But look, this is a club which has had serious issues recently with how it's been run, and I think that could cost them a place in the Championship come May. 21st, Portsmouth. I've been very surprised at how poor Portsmouth have been this season. I thought they did some great business over the summer, getting in the likes of Connor Chaplin, John Swift, as well as various young players from abroad. But only a small handful of these new signings have actually performed so far. I'm seeing big problems in both defence and attack, and their away form is absolutely miserable. They've only won 20 points from 30 away games since the start of last season. I thought Portsmouth would take this campaign and build upon survival, but I'm seeing worrying signs so far. 20th, Norwich City. It's been an absolutely honking season, and even though Liam Manning has now gone, I'm not foreseeing a vast improvement on the horizon for Norwich City. I think the problems there run a lot deeper, as I covered in my video last week. This is a squad which has seriously regressed under a sporting director who has blown an awful lot of money. Everything feels very disjointed there. If they get Josh Sargent back in form, then they could fly up the table, but I'm also not totally ruling out a surprise relegation this season. 19th, Swansea City. I've been far from impressed with Swansea this season. I was expecting a pretty mediocre campaign, but performances have left me worried that it could be worse than that. They are appalling going forwards. They have created by far the fewest big chances in the division, and it appears that Alan Sheehan is really struggling as the manager. Defensively, they're pretty sound, but that attack needs to be a lot better. It may improve if they do decide to change manager, but the warning signs are definitely there. 18th, Leicester City. This might be a bit of a surprise one, but I've said on multiple occasions how unimpressed I've been with Leicester City this season. Despite a talented squad, they have been really poor. I'm not sure Marty Cifuentes is the answer as the manager, and it appears that a lot of the issues off the pitch with things like PSR and general fan unhappiness with the way the club is being run have filtered into the performances. There's also the matter of a potential points deduction in the new year, so I can foresee a lot of turmoil at Leicester over the coming months. 17th, Watford. I find it really difficult to put my finger on Watford. They've already had a rollercoaster start with them sacking a manager, but I'm not feeling particularly strong either way about them finishing higher or lower than simply bottom half. They've got a lot of players with the potential to be good, as well as a handful of players who are very good, most notably Imran Louza, who started the season on fire, and everything may suddenly click under Javi Gracia. But with Watford being Watford, I wouldn't be surprised if everything goes a bit wrong and and we see even another sacking before the season ends, because ultimately that's just what Watford do. 16th, Sheffield United. It's obviously been a terrible start for Sheffield United with the Ruben Sayers fiasco, and things haven't dramatically improved after Chris Wilder has come back. But at the same time, I don't think they'll be in danger of going down this season. They've obviously got a talented squad, which many expected to be challenging for promotion, so I do expect that quality to shine through and see them climb up the table. However, I haven't seen enough of a vast improvement under Chris Wilder for them to go flying up the league. 15th, Preston North End. I will be honest, we're getting towards a real glut of teams now who I really struggle to separate. That's mainly down to most of these teams doing a hell of a lot better than I expected this season. However, I do expect them to drop off, but I also can't tell how much of a drop off they're going to have. Preston are very much amongst that group. They've done phenomenally well. I tipped them to go down after what was a miserable end to the last campaign, but instead they've been flying high and defying all expectations. However, I do think their squad is overall quite poor. So out of the sides currently in the top 6, they're the ones who I would be the most surprised about staying the course. But look, Paul Heckingbottom has defied expectations so far. Maybe he'll continue to do so. 14th, Wrexham. I find Wrexham to be one of the most difficult clubs to predict because in my mind, the starting 11 is definitely capable of getting into the top 6. Squad depth is a concern though, so they will definitely need to have a lot of luck with injuries if that were to happen. I'm also still not convinced that Phil Parkinson is the man to lead them to the success that they so obviously want. However, I would expect them to spend big in January, so they could be a side who get better as the season progresses. 13th, Stoke City. Stoke have been seemingly on the slide towards relegation over the past few years, but Mark Robins has managed to buck that trend this season. He's got them sat third, having conceded the fewest goals in the division. I will be honest, I do think Stoke are in a false position because I don't think they've played as well as their results suggest, so I do think they will drop off, particularly because they're only 6 points off 14th. But maybe I'll be wrong about them, just like I was at the start of the season. 12th, Bristol City. I wasn't too sure how Bristol City would take to Gerhard Struber as their new manager following the departure of Liam Manning, who guided them to their highest league finish in nearly 20 years. But they have been great fun to watch so far. It's been high intensity attacking football. The likes of Anis Mehmeti and Scott Twine are two of the most exciting attackers in the division, and this is a team with bundles of energy. They have seen a drop off in form recently, but I do think injuries have played a big part in that. Overall, they've got a strong squad and I expect them to have another strong season, even if it doesn't mean replicating another top 6 finish. 11th, Hull City. Many were tipping Hull to go down at the start of the season. I wasn't one of them, but I definitely wasn't expecting them to start as well as they have done. It's been remarkable. They score goals for fun. They also concede goals for fun, but that doesn't necessarily matter as long as they keep scoring at the rate they are. And the crazy thing is, the best may be yet to come with their attack, because what is arguably their best front three of Ollie McBurney, Liam Miller and Mohamed Baloumi, they're all out injured at the moment, haven't played together so far, and are all set to be back from injury very soon. Sergei Yakirovich has genuinely got them playing, and out of the teams who I thought would be fighting to stay up this season, but are actually now in the top 6, I think they are the most likely to stay in the mix for that as the season progresses. The only concern I have is the ownership can be a bit volatile, so that's something we have got to keep in mind. 10th, Charlton Athletic. I was feeling optimistic about Charlton at the beginning of the season, and they've done even better than I expected. They've actually been one of the sides I've been the most impressed by, because just about every time I've seen them, I've been impressed. This is a true Nathan Jones side, full of industry and togetherness, and very hard to break down. A slight concern about whether they've got enough goals to stay the course, but ultimately they're very hard to beat, and that can go an awful long way. Number 9, West Bromwich Albion. I will admit I've been far from impressed with West Brom recently, but I think they will be better in the final 2/3 of the season, because defensively they're great. It's in attack where the problems lie, which is surprising because they've got some very talented attackers. But that's the main reason I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. Whether Ryan Mason's the right man, I'm not sure, but I think their squad is strong enough that it should be in the conversation for the top 6 as the season goes on. Number 8, Queen's Park Rangers. Ah yes, my big dark horses for the season, who at one point were the form team in the division. However, they have seen results drop off recently. I do think though that is mainly down to some tricky fixtures. I'm still feeling optimistic for QPR. They've still got Kwame Poku to come into the team, who's one of the standout signings of the summer. There are some question marks about whether Julian Stefan is the right man to lead them. But I've got a lot of faith in the club hierarchy to get that decision right one way or another, and ultimately it's a very exciting team who has the potential to get a lot better as the season goes on. Number 7. Derby County. Maybe I'm getting a little carried away with recent form, and bias is possibly clouding my judgment, but I think Derby could be challenging for the top 6 this season. They started the season miserably, but have suddenly sprung to life with 5 wins on the bounce. The return of Sondre Langas in defence and switching to a back 3 has completely transformed them because they look so solid now at the back. Plus, up the other end, Carlton Morris is of course scoring goals for fun. The way I look at it, John Eustace in the past has had teams challenging for the playoffs without the greatest set of resources. At Derby, he's been well backed. So why can't he do that again and possibly even go one step further? 6th, Southampton. That's right, despite a horror start to the season, I still fancy Southampton to salvage a playoff place. And the main reason for that is because their squad is simply so strong. A lot will depend on who comes in as the manager. I don't have enormous faith in the owners getting that right, so that is a concern. But as I've covered loads on this channel, despite results not going their way, they've actually played all right this season. And even though they are 17th, they're only 7 points off the top 6. The league is that tight this season. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Southampton are the team who surge up the table late on in the season and manage to nick a playoff place late on. 5th, Millwall. I predicted a Millwall playoff finish at the start of the season. That's where they currently sit, and I haven't been discouraged from that happening. In all honesty, I haven't been blown away by Millwall. Quite bizarrely, they're the only side in the top half with a minus goal difference and are leaking a surprising number of goals. But in time, I think that will be amended. And when they've got someone like Mihailo Ivanovic, who is yet to get going, I think Millwall have got gears to go. So I think they're a solid bet for the top 6. 4th, Middlesbrough. It's been a fantastic start to the season for Middlesbrough, much better than I think anyone expected. And even though Rob Edwards has now gone, they're in a great position to consolidate a playoff place at least. A lot depends on who comes in for Edwards. I would expect it to be an exciting appointment because it's not very often you have a job available in the Championship at a side who are literally sat in the top 2. So there's a lot to build upon for whoever it is who does come in. They're rock solid at the back, could definitely do with being better going forwards, but they have the talent there for that to be easily remedied. So I'm backing them to continue this great start. 3rd, Birmingham City. Birmingham have been a bit inconsistent so far, but Chris Davis seems to have finally found out his best team, so I can see them progressing up the division. Defensively, they've been so solid since Phil Neumann's come back into the team. Tommy Doyle has been knitting things together in midfield, and Marvin Dukes up front looks a class above. It's a very solid spine there. I would expect them to significantly strengthen in January as well. Whether they can mount a serious challenge for the top 2 is another question, but I definitely think they will get into the top 6. 2nd, Coventry City. Coventry have been undeniably the best team in the Championship so far and have put themselves in such a strong position that it would be a shock if they didn't go up at this stage. They have scored a ridiculous number of goals and have genuinely blown teams away on so many occasions. Also got to be said, a 7-point cushion in the automatics just a third of the way through the season is very chunky. They have been showing recent signs of perhaps dropping off, and they simply won't keep scoring goals at the rate they have been. But I don't see a whole host of teams behind Coventry who look capable of staying the course. So if you don't think Coventry are going to be going up automatically this season, then the first question you have to ask yourself is, well, who else? And the team I think is winning the league this season, Ipswich Town. Yeah, that's right. Despite a slow start to the campaign, I still believe Ipswich Town will meet the expectations many people had for them at the beginning of the season. I think most of the issues so far have been mainly down to the several new signings they've made gelling together. They have started to show ominous signs recently that they're not far off. And while an 11-point gap behind Coventry is pretty big, they have got a game in hand, and that gap can easily be eaten up while we've still got 2/3 of the season to go. Ultimately, Ipswich simply have the strongest and largest squad in the division, and that'll be absolutely crucial as the games start coming thick and fast over the coming months. And with the lack of genuine other contenders, I will be stunned if Ipswich aren't at least in the top 2 come the end of the season. So there you have it, my updated league table predictions. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Let me know in the comments section below if you've enjoyed the video. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content like this. And if you're a particularly big fan of what we do here at the Second Tier, then make sure you join our new YouTube membership community, where for just £4.99 a month, you get access to the Second Tier Discord, an exclusive bonus video each week, and custom emojis, all you need to do is hit the join icon right next to the subscribe button. I've been Ryan Dilks from the Second Tier, and a big thank you for watching.